His name was Klaus Schmidt, sound engineer, Hamburg, career beginning in the late 1970s, freelance at first, then staff at a studio group serving multiple labels, good at his work, precise, reliable, professional. He understood acoustics, understood equipment, understood the technical architecture of sound. He could hear things other people missed, frequency problems, phase issues, subtle distortions. Things that needed correcting before they reached the listener, things that required attention, expertise, care. He was good at his job, that was known, that was his reputation. In 1984, a new project came through the studio, Modern Talking, two men, new partnership, first recordings, demo stage transitioning to professional production. The producer, Dieter Bohlen, the vocalist, Thomas Anders. Klaus was assigned standard procedure, staff engineer to the booked session, no special significance, no indication of what was coming, just another project, just another session, just another booking in the schedule. The first day was normal, productive, professional. Dieter knew what he wanted. Thomas was prepared. The session moved efficiently. Klaus did his job, positioned microphones, set levels, managed the board. Solved technical problems before they became audible problems, invisible and essential. The way good engineers always were. He went home that first evening thinking, good session, efficient, professional, this project has potential. He had no idea about the years ahead, the sessions ahead, the hundreds of hours ahead, the tension ahead, the silence ahead, the dysfunction ahead. No idea that this first normal day was the beginning of 18 years. No idea that he'd just met the two people he'd spend more professional hours with than anyone else in his career. No idea that he was about to become the invisible witness to one of the most complex professional partnerships in German music history. Just good session, go home, sleep, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and the next day, and the next. Modern Talking sessions became regular. The project succeeded, the first single worked, radio responded, label committed. Dieter and Thomas were back, more sessions, more recordings, more productions. Klaus was the engineer, consistent, present, reliable, and then he began to see things. The second session was different from the first, small thing. Dieter gave direction about. Take, Thomas responded, tone slightly off, not hostile, just slightly misaligned, slight edge, slight distance. Klaus noticed, said nothing, technical matter, not his domain. Third session, the first real disagreement. Dieter wanted a specific vocal approach. Thomas had performed it differently. Both convinced they were right, manager not present, just them and Klaus. Klaus focused on his equipment, checked levels, made notes, did not look up. Did not offer opinion, did not acknowledge what was happening 3 feet away from him. This was the rule, the unspoken rule he'd learned through years of studio work. What happens between artists is not the engineer's business. The engineer records, the engineer solves technical problems, the engineer keeps the session moving. The engineer is furniture. Present but not participating, visible but not seen, there but not there. Fourth session, the first silence. They disagreed, resolved nothing, continued recording, but between takes, silence, complete silence, both present, neither speaking. Klaus navigating the quiet, saying only what was technically necessary. Level check please, once more for the monitor mix. That take is clean, ready when you are. Nothing personal, nothing observational. Nothing about the silence itself, just technical communication, just professional function, just the engineer doing his job. Session ended, both left, Klaus alone in the studio, backing up files, resetting equipment, thinking something is happening in this partnership, something complicated, something I'm now in the middle of, not personally, professionally, geographically. I'm in the room, I'm between them, I hear everything, I see everything, I must say nothing. That was the decision, not articulated consciously, just understood, instinctively, professionally. This was his job, record the music, not the drama. Years passed, the sessions continued. Modern Talking grew, success expanded, charts responded, Europe connected, global phenomenon. Klaus remained the engineer. Consistent, present, reliable, witnessing everything. The arguments were various, about takes, about tempo, about arrangements, about lyrics, about production choices, about scheduling, about credit, about almost everything. Dieter's voice on the talkback, precise and demanding. Again, flatter, more energy, less energy. The note on the bridge is wrong. The timing on the verse is off. Corrections delivered as statements, not suggestions, not questions. Thomas's responses, professional but edged. I heard a different interpretation. I thought that was the direction we agreed. I can do it again, but I want to understand why. Dieter and Thomas navigating creative disagreement through technical language, Klaus translating it all through the board. Making sure the microphones captured everything, making sure the recordings were clean, making sure the technical foundation was solid even when the human foundation was unstable. There were silences between sessions, not hostile silences, just empty space where conversation could have been, where two people who spent hours creating together simply chose not to connect personally. Klaus. Learning to operate in that silence, learning to time his technical communications to avoid disrupting it, learning when to speak and when to stay quiet, learning to be invisible, the skill that defined his professional life for 18 years. One session, 1985, a particularly difficult day. Dieter and Thomas had disagreed about a production choice. Thomas felt the arrangement buried his vocal performance. Dieter felt the arrangement was architecturally correct. Both defending their positions, both entrenched, the argument went 3 rounds, same ground covered 3 times. Manager present that day, mediating, managing, redirecting, Klaus at his board, back slightly turned, professional, uninvolved. Dieter finally turned to him, unexpected. Klaus, you heard both versions. What do you think? Does the arrangement work? Klaus paused, hands on the faders. This was the test, the trap, the moment that would define his role. If he answered, he took a side. If he declined, he needed to do so carefully. He answered, both versions are technically clean. The first arrangement has stronger low-end presence. The second gives more mid-range space to the vocal track. Both are professionally viable. The artistic choice is yours, not an opinion, a technical observation. Neither supporting Dieter's position nor Thomas's, just facts about frequencies and presence. Both men absorbed the answer, recognized it for what it was: deflection, professional deflection, skilled deflection. Dieter accepted it. We'll try one more with the first arrangement. Thomas accepted it. Fine, one more. Crisis navigated, not resolved, but navigated. Klaus had learned something that day. The technical answer was always available, always safe, always professional. Every emotional question had a technical response. He would use it for 17 more years. 1986, the sessions increased, the success peaked. The tension increased too, inversely related to the success. As modern talking grew, the pressure grew, more product required, faster timelines, higher expectations. Dieter accelerating, Thomas processing, both struggling differently. Klaus watching, Klaus recording. One particular session stays precise in memory. February 1986, cold day outside, studio warm. Dieter wanted a specific emotional quality on a vocal take, kept asking for it. Thomas kept delivering differently. Take 7, take 8, take 9. Dieter's voice through talkback. Again, you're performing it. I need you to feel it. Thomas's voice back. I am feeling it. You're hearing performance. I'm delivering emotion. Same disagreement from different angles. Take 10, take 11. By take 12, the session had changed texture. Something had shifted. The atmosphere in the room different, heavier, more loaded. Klaus could feel it through the glass, could sense the change. Between take 12 and take 13, silence, long silence. Longer than technical silence, longer than preparation silence. Klaus didn't interrupt it, didn't fill it, just waited. Thomas's voice finally, I need a few minutes. Silence. Dieter, fine. Thomas stepped out of the booth, walked to the corridor. Manager followed. Klaus stayed. At the board, Dieter stayed at the keyboards, both in the studio, neither speaking. Klaus found something to adjust on the board, made himself busy, made himself absent, gave Dieter space to exist in that silence without being watched, without being an audience. That was another skill, knowing how to be present without intruding. Thomas returned. Session continued. Take 13 was different. Take 13 was what Dieter had asked for. 11 takes to get there. The emotional quality arrived when Thomas stepped away, walked the corridor, returned. Something in the corridor cleared something. Klaus recorded it, mixed it, saved it. That take appeared on the album. Nobody who heard it knew about the corridor, about the 11 takes before, about the silence in the control room, just the song, just the performance, just the music. That was always the strange alchemy of these sessions. Whatever happened between them, and things happened consistently, regularly, significantly, the music emerged clean. The dysfunction didn't transfer to the recording. The tension didn't contaminate the product. The silence didn't infiltrate the sound. How was that possible? Klaus had thought about it, had observed it for years. His conclusion, they were both professionals of the highest order. When the red light came on when the session was recording, something else took over, something that transcended their personal dynamic. The music asked something of both of them and both delivered, regardless of what else was happening, regardless of the tension, regardless of the silence, regardless of the dysfunction. The music got what it needed, every time. That was modern talking. That was the paradox Klaus witnessed for 18 years. After the 1987 breakup, Klaus continued at the studio. Other projects, other artists, other partnerships, simpler ones mostly, less talented, less complicated. He realized how extraordinary those modern talking sessions had been, not just the music, the entire experience, witnessing that level of creative output maintained despite that level of personal difficulty. Most partnerships he'd seen fell apart much sooner. The creative quality dropped before the relationship did. With Dieter Bohlen and Thomas Anders both held, simultaneously, impossibly. When 1998 reunion happened and Modern Talking booked the studio again, Klaus requested the assignment. First time he'd ever requested a specific project. Manager noticed, "You want back on Modern Talking?" "Yes, why? Professional interest. I know their technical requirements. The sessions will be more efficient." True, also incomplete. He wanted back because he'd missed it. Not the tension, not the silence, not the dysfunction, but the music, the way music emerged from that impossible combination. He'd missed witnessing it. He was assigned. First reunion session, same pattern, same dynamic. Years collapsed. 1987 to 1998 disappeared. Same positions, same distances, same minimal personal communication, same musical magic. Klaus at his board, right where he'd always been, home again, uncomfortable home, but home. The reunion years continued. 5 more years, 1998 to 2003. Klaus present, consistent, witnessing, recording. The technical answers to emotional questions remained available, used regularly. The take is technically clean. The levels are balanced, the frequency response is strong, professional distance maintained, personal neutrality preserved. The invisible engineer, still invisible, still present, still hearing everything, still saying nothing. 2003, final session, June. Klaus knew it was last, same way everyone knew, not announced, just understood. He set up that day with particular care. Every microphone in perfect position, every level precisely calibrated, every technical element optimized. He wanted the final recording to be the best technically. Whatever else was ending, the sound would be right. The session proceeded. Dieter and Thomas recorded, professional, clean. The last take of the last song, Thomas closed his eyes, sang with something extra, something beyond the professional. Klaus heard it through the monitors, felt it through the equipment, looked at Dieter. Dieter was listening, still, focused, also hearing it, also feeling it, neither acknowledging the other, both feeling the same thing separately. The session ended. Dieter, "That's it, we have it." Thomas removed his headphones. The session was complete. Modern Talking was complete. They exchanged minimal words, left separately. Klaus remained. Always the last one to leave, always backing up files, always resetting for the next session. This time backing up files that would be the last. There was no next session. He sat in the empty studio for a long time after, longer than necessary, thinking about 18 years, about everything he'd witnessed, about everything he'd never said, about the music that emerged from impossible circumstances, about the human beings who created it while being unable to connect, turned off the lights, locked the door, drove home. End of an era, his era too. Retirement came in 2005. Industry party, colleagues, recognition, a career celebrated, speeches made. Klaus listened, thanked people, accepted the recognition. That evening, an industry magazine reporter approached. "You worked with Modern Talking for 18 years, every session almost. You've never spoken about it publicly. Now that you're retired, would you be willing to talk?" Klaus thought about it. He was retired, no professional obligations, no loyalties requiring silence. The music existed, the history existed. Nothing he could say would change what had happened. Nothing he said would harm what had been created. Just truth, professional observation, human witness. "Yes," he said, "I'll talk." The reporter took out a notebook. What was it like, working with them for 18 years? Klaus paused, chose his words, carefully, as always. "It was the most extraordinary professional experience of my career. I worked with many artists, many partnerships, many talented people. Nothing compared to those sessions. Because of the music, because of the combination, the music was exceptional. But the combination, Dieter Bohlen and Thomas Anders, was unlike anything I'd encountered. They created something extraordinary together, consistently, despite everything. Despite what? Despite the difficulty of their dynamic. They were not easy partners, not personally. Emotionally, but professionally they were extraordinary. The music always came first. Whatever else was happening, the music got what it needed. What was the tension like? Professional, consistent, never comfortable, always present. They had different approaches to creation, different understandings of their roles, different ways of processing the work. Those differences created friction, regularly. Did it ever affect the music? Klaus smiled, slightly. Never, that's the thing, that's what I could never fully explain. The tension stayed in the room. It never entered the recordings. The dysfunction never contaminated the product. I don't know how that's possible, but it was consistently true for 18 years. Did they like each other? The question Claude had deflected with technical answers for 18 years, the one question he'd never answered. They respected each other, professionally, completely. They understood each other's talent, each other's necessity. Whether they liked each other, he paused, long pause. I think they understood each other. In the way that two people who spend thousands of hours creating together must understand each other. Whether that constitutes liking, that's not something I can answer. That's private. That's theirs. Do you have a favorite memory? Yes, but I'll keep it. He did keep it. Some things remained private. Some observations belonged only to the witness. Klaus Schmidt, sound engineer, Hamburg, retired 2005. The man who heard everything modern talking created, who saw everything modern talking experienced, who said nothing for 18 years, who finally spoke, carefully, respectfully, truthfully, the way he'd always worked. The invisible third person, now finally visible, still protecting what needed protecting, still maintaining what deserved maintaining. That was his job, had always been his job, to preserve the music, to honor the work, to witness without judging, to record without editorializing, to be present without intruding. For 18 years, in hundreds of sessions, through all of it. Every take, every silence, every argument, every extraordinary piece of music that emerged from extraordinary people who could not find ordinary ways to connect. He heard it all. He said almost nothing. He remembered everything. That was Klaus Schmidt, the man in the middle, the man at the board, the man who kept the silence so the music could speak.